Most of us have heard of it. You know, that morbid little playground rhyme our mothers used to frown upon so heavily. Perhaps it wasn't just the obscene nature of the lyrics that got under their skin. Maybe it was the fact that it made light of, and, in a way, immortalized one of America's most famous and grisly murders. I am, of course, speaking of the famous Lizzie Borden Murder Case. Lizzie Andrew Borden was a young woman whose entire hometown of Fall River, Massachusetts, believed to be responsible for the grotesque axe murders of her father and stepmother. She was tried and acquitted in 1892 due to a lack in physical evidence. Despite providing enough reasonable doubt to free herself, many still believed she was guilty. Even with the controversy surrounding her trial and release, Lizzie chose to stay in her hometown, being treated as an outcast for the rest of her days. Despite the family's wealth, things were not all well. It was reported by the family's live-in maid that Lizzie was not on the best of terms with her stepmother. It was rumored that she had never warmed up to Abby, or Mrs. Borden as she called her, since she refused to call her mother. Perhaps this was because she was quite young, too young for her father in Lizzie's opinion, or perhaps she saw her as trying to replace her mother in a sense, or even that her father was more fond of her than his own daughters. Regardless, tensions had been growing in the family. August 4th, 1892, at 11:10 a.m., Lizzie screamed wildly for the family maid. She stated that someone had come into the family home and had killed her father. When authorities arrived, they found Mr. Borden's corpse slumped on the sofa. He was hardly recognizable due to having been struck in the head with a hatchet 10 to 11 times. Due to the nature of his wounds, they assumed he had been asleep before he was attacked. Soon after examining Mr. Borden's body, Mrs. Borden's corpse was discovered upstairs. She was strewn limply on the floor, her head caved in by 19 blows. During the investigation, a hatchet head was found in the basement. However, it was clear of blood. The handle was missing, something the prosecutors argued was likely intentionally removed by the perpetrator because of blood. However, due to the limited technology at the time, this evidence was simply not enough to convict upon. And after an exceptionally long deliberation period, Lizzie was found to be not guilty. Oddly enough, even though no bloodied clothes were found during the investigation, Lizzie was found to have burned a dress in the kitchen stove only a few days after the murders. She claimed it to be ruined due to some spilt paint. Regardless, we'll likely never know for sure whether or not Miss Lizzie Borden was truly responsible for the atrocious crimes. But one thing is for certain: the town of Fall River, Massachusetts was forever changed by that dark day, and its legacy will live on through the grim tune of a children's jump rope game.